Welcome to the Tangle with Kyle Ridley, where we get tangled in all of life's sweetness and saltiness and everything in between. And what am I tangled in right now? So I am immersing myself in some books. I try to read a book a month, and I've done well at that the past few years. As I've said before, I mostly read memoirs, autobiographies, a lot of times comedians. I love a good mix of laughter, and my favorites are like dark humor, people that have a funny story but with some trauma attached. Those are always my favorite, and probably what my book will be. But I just finished a couple. One was very light-hearted. That is Kelly Ripa's, not really a memoir, it's a collection of essays, live wire, long-winded short stories, and I really enjoyed it. I knew it wasn't going to be a full tell-all because she's quite private, and you do get a peek inside her home life and her marriage especially, but I was surprised by how private she is, and also a bit shy, like a lot of stage fright for someone who is on live TV every day and winging it and with no script for 20 minutes as they do that host chat. She's such a quick wit. She is a live wire, but it was interesting to see the dichotomy of at times insecurity with being in the public eye. And what I really got from her book was just what a wonderful, grounded mother she seems to be. And I think that's her obviously number one pride and joy is raising her kids. And she's an empty nester now with Mark, and they've clearly done a great job. But it was interesting to read the book, and we got some tea. You know, she does talk a bit about the drama surrounding Regis Philbin's exit from the show and their lack of communication afterward, and really lack of communication throughout their whole hosting together. It seems like they did not really talk outside of that hour on the show every day. And she hinted that it really wasn't Regis who wanted her on the show as the co host. It was more of a network decision and higher powers that be, and they really tried to put her in place while she was there. Certainly a lot of chauvinism in that workplace. I'm surprised that she lasted so long, and she's still on that show 20 plus years later, and she's gone through several co-hosts, and she's a survivor in that sense, but definitely has had to deal with some inappropriate workplace behavior and people trying to, as she puts it, have her understand who her boss is. I was surprised about that, and how she really has chosen to keep silent on a lot of that workplace toxicity. We got some of it. What I got was that Regis was a curmudgeon, which he often comes across, and that's what people loved about him, but also not warm with her at all on the show, and really kept her at arm's length, kept Kelly at bay. Unlike his relationship with Kathy Lee, which was close, and they were still in touch after the show and remained very close. It sounds like him and Kelly just were never close, which I'm sure was a difficult work environment to live in. Now, clearly, there's obviously more drama on that set, as she worked with Michael Strahan for a few years and he left abruptly and she didn't address him once. So clearly not a tell all. There was, and she notes that. She was like, there's clearly stuff that you probably want me to talk about that I'm not. I definitely recommend that book. It was an easy read, it was an enjoyable read, and I have some newfound respect for her, for sure. And then the other book that I read, which I can easily say is my favorite book of 2025 so far, is Actress of a Certain Age, My 20-Year Trail to Overnight Success. This had me laughing in the first couple paragraphs. If you don't know Jeff Hiller, he was recently on the show Somebody Somewhere on HBO for 3 seasons. It's a beautiful show. It was, it went under the radar, but we got 3 seasons. We got a nice conclusion to it. And he just was nominated for an Emmy for Best Supporting Actor. So well deserved, and a big surprise, as he has posted about on social media, but so well deserved. His character is beautifully nuanced and very much like him. If you read the book, you see how much he relates to his character in Somebody Somewhere. You get a lot of his history of working in improv and having little bit roles here and there throughout the decades, and working full time on the side and in temp jobs, and really trying to make ends meet up until this HBO show in his, late 40s. And I really just can't say enough about the book. You hear his voice come across on every single page, and he knows how to write a memoir because he, like me, is a huge fan of autobiographies, and every single chapter in his book is named after a memoir that he's read. So, Are You There, Vodka? It's Me, Chelsea, from Chelsea Handler, or Little Girl Lost by Drew Barrymore, Finding Me, Viola Davis, Busy Phillips, Demi Moore, Tori Spelling, Alan Cumming, Amy Poehler. This is the book of the year to beat for me. I don't think any book will beat it because I just have loved it so much. And if you get the audiobook, it is even more entertaining. So definitely check out Jeff Hiller's memoir, Actress of a Certain Age, and check out Somebody Somewhere. It's a gem of a show, and more people are finding it. And I hope more people get to see it now that he was just nominated for Emmy and is getting some long overdue attention. And speaking of authors, my guest today is an author. She's also an acclaimed TV host, radio host. She's had huge success here in the DC area. She's a Prince George's County native, and her name is Autumn Joi. I worked with her when I was in TV for a couple years and just loved every minute I got to spend with her on set and behind the scenes. She is always game for anything, and she just brings any room to a higher level. She has that infectious energy. I just adore her, and she has a beautiful story and a harrowing story. A trigger warning, we do talk about mental health struggles and suicide, and she is a survivor through and through. I so enjoyed this conversation, and I know you will too. So here we go with the beautifully talented and wonderfully warm-hearted Autumn Joi. Autumn Joi, what a pleasure to have you here. How have you been?
Good. I miss you, Kyle. It's so good to be here.
I miss you, and I'm excited to actually get to know you for a good 30, 45 minutes because we've worked together for a few years, and I just left the station, and we always had fun, but I don't know a lot of your backstory, and so I know you have some stories.
Oh, do I? I'm full of stories. So
You
let's
are.
get, I'm an open book.
And you're a native of the DMV area, so Prince George's County. I want to start off with talking about a little bit about hometown pride because you stayed in the area. You're very well known. In 2023, you won the Pride of Prince George's County Award. What does hometown mean to you? And did you always know that this was the place to be?
You know what? It's so crazy because honestly, I was that girl that lived everywhere else besides the DMV. Like when I graduated from high school, I was like, I don't want to be anywhere near Prince George's County, DC, Virginia. I want to get out of here. So I actually got a track scholarship to Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I mean, I had offers from like Howard, Morgan State, George Mason, a lot of like the local area schools, but I said, no, I'm trying to be out of here. So when the opportunity to be at the beach in Florida, presented itself, of course I jumped on it. So I moved down to Florida, but unfortunately I only lasted a year down there because I discovered boys, lost my virginity, and my parents were like, nope. Come on home. So I came home for a year. And then that's when I actually discovered radio and became an intern at WPGC. But then I went back to college at Eastern Shore, and my sophomore summer, I took a one-way flight down to Miami, and I lived in Miami for the summer and worked at 99 Jams. And then after that, I lived in Delaware for a little while and worked at the radio station there. I moved to New York a few times, worked at Shade 45 and This Is 50 with 50 Cent, the whole G Unit crew. Then I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and I lived there for 3.5 years and worked at K975. And then I got the job at WHUR and came back home and was there for 2.5 years. So I was definitely moving around a lot.
Yeah, as happens with radio and TV, especially starting out, you go where the jobs are. So you've been all around the country and now you're back home. Do you feel like this is where I belong after living a bunch of places? And is most of your family still here?
Yeah, and I'm happy you asked me that because I think it's so crazy. When I was younger, I was trying to get away from here because it was like my family's here, my parents, they get on my nerves. I don't want them to pop up on me, all of the things, right? Whereas now that I'm older, I've got a family, I'm more established. I couldn't think of any place else I would want to live. They dubbed me the pride of Prince George's. Our now Senator Angela Brooks, she gave me that title. The Prince George's County Council gave me my own day, the Autumn Joi Live Day on my birthday, January 26th. I was born and raised here. My mom is from Boston. My dad is from New York, but they met at Howard University. And so they got together and had 5 of us. And, we dug in. So yeah, all my family is here.
So entertainment radio, you said you discovered it in college. Was the entertainment hosting radio always an interest, or did it actually happen after high school and you didn't really know what you were going to do until you were in school full time?
Yeah, no, it actually, so I was doing the morning announcements in high school, and I've always liked to talk. I've always kind of had that gift of gab. I've always been able to just strike up a conversation and talk to anybody. I just didn't know what it looked like or what it was called or what I could do with it until I got to Bethune-Cookman and I saw that they had a student radio station. And I was like, oh, okay, this could be a thing. Then I ended up leaving, and when I got to Eastern Shore, they had a student station that honestly hadn't been used in years. So I went to the student government, got permission, they gave me the keys, and literally it was like a movie. When I opened the door, it was like cobwebs and just like old furniture. The doors were creaking, and I had to dust off the equipment, but I brought it back to life. And I even advocated to the FCC to get our antenna raised a couple of inches so that we could reach further out from just the university. So we went from the university to the road 2 blocks down. So, I mean, it was a little bit of an increase, but I was excited about it. So yeah, that's where I fell in love with radio.
And I assume you've worked every radio shift. You've done overnights, early mornings, nights.
I've done it all. I started off doing 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. at WKYS in Washington, D.C. That was a hard shift. And then, yes, I've done mornings. I dabbled in mornings. But the shift that I absolutely fell in love with was middays. And that's the 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift. So I became your midday love, all things midday. I mean, it was just, for me, it's that sweet spot. People are sitting at their desk listening. They could be, delivery drivers out listening. And yeah, I loved it because it was like I didn't have to wake up too early in the morning, and I got off at the perfect time of day to where I could still have a little bit of a life. So
You've dabbled in a lot of areas of the industry. Now, when we go back to your first job, are we talking 90s, early 2000s? I think you and I are around the same age, so we probably started working around the same time.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't mind telling my age. I'm 43. I don't think, I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm a full on 80s baby. But my very first job ever, I was a camp counselor in my church. Yeah,
Aw.
that was my
You want to
first
shout
job.
out the church?
Shout out to the Church of the Great Commission. They're not around anymore. They used to be right off Allentown Road, right in Prince George's County. But yeah, that was my first job.
That's awesome. So you've seen the industry change so much, especially from the 90s, early 2000s, with streaming taking over TV and radio. You are still in the radio industry. Do you look back on it like, oh, I lived through the heyday, or what are you still finding interesting about being on air?
You know what? I find that a lot of the PDs that were I worked with when I was on terrestrial radio, if you will, they always preach that the music is the star. Let the music take over. Less talking, more music. I always felt like the listeners wanted to fall in love with the personalities. So as far back as I can remember, I used to listen to the radio religiously to the point to where I would record the song on the radio and then come back and record myself talking and introducing the song or whatever. And I mean, the personalities were what I listened out for. And so when I got back into commercial radio, I did the opposite. I made my listeners fall back in love with me, and the music was secondary. And so I do think that that method, honestly, is what helped me be the number one midday show in markets where before I got there, middays was like 20 something in the market, barely even scratching the surface. But when I got there, I was able to connect with the audience on a real level. So I do think that that's what's missing, honestly, when it comes to like commercial radio, is that talent just connecting with their audience again.
I assume money also. With all industries tightening their strings ever since streaming, yeah. So it's like I notice people who are in radio now, it's not just, oh, this is their job. They're having to hustle all around. They're having to do sales and having to boost social media, and it's really a full-time job. You're not just on the radio anymore. There's a lot that comes with it. And you're good at keeping up with all that. So do you have like helpers, managers to help you with all this social media presence?
Yeah, you know what's so crazy? I'm a one-woman show. People really think that I have like a team of people behind me on my social media, but that's really just me. I have a manager. Shout out to my manager, Sean Michael Wilson. He's great. You know, he'll get me, some bookings within the area. But what you see on social media, that is all me. It's always just been Autumn Joi Live, building my brand, solo dolo by myself. And I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to me and like what I post and how I post. So it's kind of hard for me to relinquish that power and allow someone to have all of that power. But to your point, yeah, I mean, radio stations, because they are cutting back, you have to have a side hustle. You have to have a brand. You have to be able to get booked outside of just relying on that paycheck. And I do think that that's what a lot of talent, especially in this area, is missing. They're on the radio, but you don't really know them, or they don't really have a brand big enough to get them booked outside of just being on the radio. So yeah, you do have to hustle really hard and make sure your brand is strong.
Is there any other advice you would give to aspiring DJs? Is that what they're still called?
Yeah, DJs, on air personality, talent. I would say, because this generation, they're so hung up on being paid, paid, paid. Give me my money. I think that people have lost sight that experience is the biggest teacher. People think that they can come right out of college, jump on the radio, and be a superstar overnight. You really have to hustle and put that work in. So if that means, you do have to move away to a smaller market and maybe get $43,000 a year. You know what I mean? You may just have to do that. I know you're big-eyed, but that I was only making
No, when
40.
I started in TV, yeah, it was high 30s, early 40s. Like there is not money in local, especially
Nope,
local. This is not
not at
national.
all. Yeah, I had that same when I was in Raleigh. It was 41,000, and I was woo. I was in clubs every day trying to get a little coin from hosting parties. So I would just tell folks, hey, if you can't move away, inquire at the stations about interning. And again, don't look for the payday. You want that experience. And then when you get your foot in the door, be helpful. Go around and talk to other departments. See where you can fit in. See where you can help. Because believe it or not, people remember that. So when you apply to that job, they'll say, you know what, you were a worker bee and you did it for free.
How is radio compared to TV, or I guess compared to any field as far as it being male dominated? Have you found that to be the case, or is it going in a better direction? I feel like in the DMV, there's a lot of female hosts that I've connected with over the years, but who's at the actual head when it comes to the stations? Who's pulling the strings?
Yeah. Now, I will say there has been a shift. When I was coming up and, the early 2000s, and of course earlier than that, it was absolutely a male dominated industry. The women were catty. Nobody wanted to help you out. There was only space for maybe one girl on the morning show that could be the sidekick, and then middays. And that was it for when it came to on air. And so when, let's say, for instance, a young Autumn Joi comes into the building as an intern, and I'm just excited to be there, the women were not nice to me at all. I mean, it was horrible. The men, the stuff that they would say, the stuff that they were able to get away with, it was radio was a very toxic environment. Now, when you fast forward to nowadays, there's so many women that are PDs, that are GMs of stations. So it definitely has changed to a certain point. It's not as male dominated, but you still have to kind of watch your back and just kind of get in where you fit in. But yeah, I would say that it's a little bit better now.
I think that's the case in any field where there's talent involved, where there's certain people that get the shine, and there's with that comes people that are worried about who's getting more shine and who's getting more airtime. But we can talk about a little about any drama you've encountered, because drama surrounds TV and radio. How have you managed to navigate those difficult personalities and conflict, especially being in the public eye?
Great question. So I did a reality show years and years ago, like in my mid 20s. And this specific show was called Flavor of Love. I'll just put it out there.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's so funny because you guys did it on Fox a few times, like making fun of me or whatever. It was cool. But being on that show, and I'm not a fighter. Like, I've never been like in a physical fight. Like, I'm a crier. So when I went out for the show, I was doing overnights at WKYS at the time. And of course, they wanted us to fight and they wanted us to be in each other's face, like all of the things. And I just was never that girl. So fast forward, I leave the show and I get back to the radio station and kind of back to what I was saying about like how women just weren't nice to me. Oh my goodness. There was this one chick who's still around. She was like, you know, she was kind of big time in the industry at the time. Everybody knew who she was. And, you know, I was like the little young girl coming in there, excited to be there. This lady, so we had an event and she was late. And so my boss asked me to fill in for her until she got there. So I'm just like, oh, absolutely. So I put my headphones on, grabbed the mic, and I'm doing my thing and interviewing celebrities, just like, oh, this is it. She comes in and starts cursing everybody out, cursing me out, cursing out my boss. Why is she doing my job? What is she doing? Then proceeds to lunge at me and tries to fight me. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say that it's hard trying to be who you truly authentically are without feeling like your light is offending people, if that makes sense. So it's hard to dim yourself because that's just naturally who you are, right? Like, I don't want no smoke with these people. I'm one of those people that actually helps other women and pulls other women along. And, you know, like if I can put you in a position to win, hey, you got it, sis. There's enough room for all of us. But for me growing up, I was never extended that courtesy. Everything I got, I kind of got it myself. So it's hard. It was hard. It was really hard.
What were your biggest influences?
Coming up, in radio, there was this girl named Rain. And Rain was on WPGC with DJ Flex. And they had a show, and she was always like, it's raining on your radio. And so growing up listening to her, Angie Martinez, she's a huge influence because she's just been in the industry since Jesus was a baby. Yeah, I would say that. Donnie Simpson. Donnie Simpson was actually who I interned with first. And he was the one that gave me my shot on air for the first time. He was my very first introduction to radio. So yeah, for sure, Donnie Simpson.
And have you been able to make any, who can we shout out that has been long-lasting relationships, always by your side in this industry that you can still call a true ride or die?
My guy Al Payne. That he was the one that got me a job back in commercial radio whenever there was no yeses. Everything was no, 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 no. Al Payne was that one yes. So he got me back into radio. He also was the one that brought me home from Raleigh to WHUR. I mean, he's always believed in me. He's always just been that guy in my corner, and has always looked out. And that's very rare to have in that industry. And I'll say you, Kyle. I mean, really, I mean, you kept me booked and busy, you and Chanel really kept me booked. And again, if it wasn't for folks like you that actually see me for who I am and my talent and believed in it and really want to see me grow, I wouldn't be where I am today. So yes, definitely kudos to you. I got to say, I miss you, friend. I really do.
You're so sweet. So a lot of the DMV knows you from the WHUR days. You exited in 2023, surprisingly, and there was not a lot of detail given. Looking back on that experience, if you want to give any background for listeners who aren't aware, what were the highs and lows of that experience? And is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the highs definitely were being back home, WHUR, Howard University Radio. My parents graduated from Howard. My little brother, the one I was telling you about that's in film, he graduated from Howard. My oldest brother went to medical school there. I've got aunts and uncles that went to graduate school. So it was like I'm home. My parents can hear me on the radio, like this is it, It was such a cool, like family environment. I got there in 2020. So, I mean, I would be in the studio by myself, but I mean, I loved it. I mean, there was nothing bad about it. I will say, and I'm comfortable. I'm okay with saying it out loud now, but of course, the low was, my departure and the way that it happened. It's always sad when you're on air on a Wednesday and then nothing Thursday, Friday for pretty much for the rest of your life. Nobody knows. It's like, wait, what happened to Autumn Joi Live? You know, my ratings, I was literally making history with my ratings. I was winning awards. I was constantly number one. The DMV listeners, they would start their morning with Steve Harvey, come over to Autumn Joi Live, and then go over to Donnie Simpson. That's how it was for years. I mean, we dominated the market. My midday show was, I mean, it was astronomical. So to see that go, oh, it was dark for me. It was, and I was pregnant. I was 4 months pregnant when I got let go, because I was let go. It wasn't, you know, I was let go. And it was hard because, you know, when you're in that position of winning, the last thing you're thinking is being let go for something so minor. But then in the grand scheme of things, you have to look at it from the business perspective. And so I went from trying to figure out like why to, you know what, Autumn, this is why. And now let's figure out what the lesson in that is. And from that lesson, we have to learn and grow so we don't ever do that again. And so, I will say I do miss my live squad. I miss being on the radio. I mean, I'm on Lit 106 now, but it's streaming platform. So there's a difference, you know? But yeah, I would say I just miss my listeners overall. That's my biggest loss there.
We'll get to your new radio show and your new talk show and all of that in a little bit. But since you did mention the 4 months, you were pregnant for 4 months, let's get into some personal family, love, and relationship stuff.
Oh, let's get
Cool.
juicy.
So I know you're a mom of two. How old are your children?
So Xavier's my oldest. He's 13. And then Lee, he will be 2 in September. And he is a feisty little toddler. Let me tell you that.
Again, I don't know much about your background. Have you ever been married?
No, I have not been. I was engaged. I was engaged to my Xavier's dad, but I called that off. We were together for 8 years. But no, I've never been married. It's so funny, Kyle, because I'm like, is marriage like in the cards for me? Like, will I ever see that and walk down the
Well, you were
aisle?
engaged and you called it off, I'm sure appropriately, but that was your choice. Have you always been more career driven, you think?
Oh, always. My career has always been like the focal point for me. That's really what drove me to go to different places, you know, to have those different experiences, because I truly am passionate and love my career and love what I'm doing. When I'm not doing it, I'm miserable. And so I told myself early on, I said, listen, girl, this is where we need to be. We gotta chase this and give it our all. So yeah.
So you're with someone for 8 years. Were you in love?
Yeah, we were in love. That was a hard breakup. You know, 8 years is a long time to love someone and be with someone. My first child was with him, obviously, you know, but it did come to a point to where I felt like I had to make a decision when it pertained to just growth in the direction that he was going in and the direction I was going in. And growing up in a two-parent household, you know, you never want to, in your mind, you think like, dang, like I'm a failure. Like, I don't want my son to grow up without both of his parents, but you can't be fully happy and healthy and be there for your child if you're miserable in your relationship. So I had to just make the hard decision and I chose me.
And since I've known you, I know you've dated a bit. What's your status now?
I am single, baby. I am
Single.
single, working on my roster. I'm looking for two more starting players to be on my roster. So if that's you, holla at me.
Are you saying you want more kids?
No, oh God,
I thought
no.
you meant two more kids.
Oh, no. I'm looking for, so I'm talking to 3 guys right now. I need 2 more to make my starting
Oh.
5.
So does this mean you're on the apps or how do you meet someone?
So I was on Hinge actually, and Hinge was actually good. I met some good quality guys, and so I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to try older men. And you know, so I met about 3 older guys that were good, you know, good options. And you know, Kyle, I often forget that I'm kind of known in this area. It's so funny because these guys, they knew who I was. And like one guy showed up on our first date with 3 dozen long stem roses and rolled out the red carpet and was love bombing me. Now the old Autumn would have been like, oh, this is my husband. Oh, but the Autumn now, I was like, no, 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 no. This is called love bombing. Let me pay attention. Then one of the other guys, our second date, told me that he was going to marry me and he was my husband. And I just didn't like how his body was shaped. So I was like, I knew he wasn't going to be it. So yeah, they're all kind of gone now.
Well, the older we get, we know what we want, and we don't need to waste time if we know it's not going to work out. And especially
Exactly.
you have kids, so you need to be investing in the right people.
Right, there's that, especially with like my oldest son, because he had such a bond with my second relationship, with my second situation. And so I have to be very careful with whoever is next. I don't want to introduce them too soon to my kids. So
Do you know what your love language is?
my love language is gifts. Um,
Giving and receiving?
Giving and receiving, and it doesn't have to be like expensive. I like flowers. I'm a plant mom, so I love flowers. I love thoughtful gifts. I love, somebody having something delivered to my house just because they're thinking of me. Like for me, I was like, oh, I love that. And I would say like words of affirmation. I like when my boo notices that I'm doing great things and is constantly uplifting me and speaking life into me and, telling me they love me. And I'll say physical touch. I know you only asked me about one, but I feel like
You want all the love.
I want I feel like all of the love languages are me, honestly.
You've mentioned you've gone through some really dark times, especially, while you were pregnant and career-wise. 43 now, how are you supporting your mental health, especially
Mm.
going through such difficulties and times of despair? What have you learned from that, and how do you support yourself so that you can in turn support your boys?
Kyle, oh man. So after I was let go from my dream job at the radio station, I told my partner, and he was like, "Oh, don't you worry, I'm gonna take care of us. I got us. We're good." And so I'm like, "Oh my goodness, thank God, my man, he's got me, okay." And he knows I'm a hustler. Again, I was pregnant. I took my show on the road. I had businesses booking me, so I was still actively working. I was Fox 5 added 2, 3, 4 days a week even. So I'm like, okay, good. Like I'm still out there doing my thing. So it didn't really seem as bad. He later changed his tune and, told me that any idea that I had for us to get married, a ring, I can just throw that out the window. Soon after that, he stopped being intimate with me. He told me that he lost attraction to me. And then I realized that he was actively cheating. And that was in that when all of that came together, I started to tell myself, I was like, hey, you know what? I think my boys will be better off without me. I lost my dream job. I'm not really making any money. I am a failure pretty much. This man he's gone. He's never going to marry me. Here I am pregnant with his child. We talked about marriage, all of the things. And I really just I wrote my suicide notes to my sons. And contacted my insurance company. I did my last will and testament. I actually still have it right here on my desk. I really did my last will. And here's the crazy thing, Kyle. I was okay with it. I was like, hey, you know what? I said, God, listen, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to hell. I don't know. But I was like, I just know that this pain that I'm experiencing and that I'm feeling, I can't take it. And I was ready to go. The turning point for me, I was sitting in my closet. I had my gun on my lap and I was ready. I put my hands on my stomach and I started to cry and was apologizing to my unborn baby. And he started to kick and was kick. And he was always like a chill kind of baby in my stomach. But at this particular moment, he was like really kicking and kicking and kicking and became very active all of a sudden. And I realized that was my sign. That was my son telling me like, no, mom, don't do it. I'm here. I deserve a chance at life. I can make you smile again. I can make you happy. all of the things that I am now because of him. I just had to constantly tell myself that my boys are here. They love their mama. They need their mom. They need you here. You've got to push through. I got back into the Bible. I was born and raised in church, got back into the Bible, started being more intentional, going to church more, praying more, journaling, all of the things that seem cliche. But when I tell you that saved my life, Fox 5 saved my life. All of those days that you all added on for me being there, I felt like I had a purpose. Like, okay, I can't go. I can't let them down. You guys would call me, hey, are you available? Yep, I can come in. And so that really gave me the push that I needed to keep going and to, just know everything's going to be okay, Autumn. I was doing my affirmations, and here I am now. I thank God every day that I did not end my life, because again, I was very content. I was like, hey, this is it. What I've lived a good long life. It's okay
No,
for me
it's
to go
not
now.
long enough, Autumn. Oh
I
my.
know,
Oh,
I
you're
know.
incredible. Who is your support system now?
I would say my support, as crazy as this sounds, my 13-year-old, he is my little best friend. He checks on me, he hugs me, he knows when something's wrong, he knows when something's off. He comes to me and he grabs my hands. He says, Mom, let's pray. Let's breathe together. It's going to be okay. I've got you. He hugs me. And this little guy that I gave birth to, that I would console and comfort, has become my security blanket, has become someone that I really rely on. And we talk. And he's so mature beyond his years. He tells me everything and we just talk. I would say him and my sister, and then my best friend, those are really the three that I go to for everything.
Glad you have that. And we're here for you as well, for sure. But you have a lot going on since first met you 2.5 years ago. You have a TV show of your own. You're not just guest hosting. You're on streaming. You just mentioned that. And you have the Autumn Joi Live Foundation. Let's encapsulate those three things. Let's start with the TV show. How did that come about and where can we watch?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Autumn Joi Live talk show that came about, I want to say, right around right in late 20, early 2021 was when that came about. And it's been a dream of mine to have my own talk show. So shout out to CTV, Prince George's County Television, right here in Prince George's County. They gave me the opportunity. We're going on, oh wow, 5 years of the show, where we're coming up on season 4 in a couple of months. And yeah, you can catch it on Comcast channel 76 and Verizon Fios channel 43 every Thursday at 8 p.m.
Awesome. And Autumn Joi Life Foundation, I wasn't as familiar with that. How did that come about?
Yeah, so my foundation, I've always been passionate about kids. And so the one thing that I've noticed about like the people that I look up to, the Steve Harveys, all of the big names, they all have foundations. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I need to figure out what it is that I'm passionate about. And kids has always been one, but more specifically foster youth. And I was like, I want to lock in with a group of people that could really utilize my help, that would really look forward to hearing from me and really need my help. And so foster youth in Prince George's County. So shout out to Progressive Life Center. I am officially their ambassador. And a little bit of tea for you, breaking news. I got an email yesterday from the county council, and they have awarded me with a $25,000 grant. For my foundation.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so I'll be able
incredible.
to I'll be
It's
able
gonna
to
help
help
a lot.
foster. Yeah, oh my goodness, because I was using my own money, and so it was like dollar store everything, but
Oh, that's
but now I
incredible.
can. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I really am, to really help those kids and change their lives for sure.
Awesome. And then how can we hear you streaming your radio?
So yeah. So I'm on Lit 106. We are on all streaming platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, Audilist, the Odyssey app. We're on Alexa. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Lit 106 Skill, and the station comes right up. We're a fully functioning station, 24/7. We're streaming. I've got personalities on there. We've got DJs. I'm on Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So Yeah, follow us on Instagram at WLIT 106 Radio.
You're always doing so much, and you're an author, and you have a new children's book coming out. Tell us about
Dude.
Joy on the Radio.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny. I keep forgetting that there's always something else. Yes, 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 yes. So Joy on the Radio actually was birthed during the time when I was going through, you know, my dark moments. And I told myself, I said, you know what, I want to write a book, but I don't want to do like a self-help book or autobiography. You know, I was like, I want to do a children's book. I have kids, a book that could kind of fit between my son's age range. So, you know, it's about a fifth grader named Joy. She has aspirations of being on the radio. But in the book, we follow her journey of becoming the morning show announcer for Clover Elementary School. So we just kind of see that progression. Her auntie, Autumn Joi, in the book is a big radio personality. So she goes and visits her at the radio station and she gives her, you know, some pointers on what to do. And yeah, and she ultimately becomes the on-air morning show announcer at her school.
And is that available now to pre-order? Or is it?
It's available for pre-order, so it'll be out August 25th is when the book will actually drop. But yes, it is available for pre-order. I've got all of the links in my bios everywhere.
We've gotten through most of your whole career, your whole life. I've learned a lot, but now I want to get tangled since that's the theme of the podcast. So something that you're loving getting tangled in right now could be a show you're binging or anything that you're just loving immersing in right now. And then something maybe annoying or frustrating that you're trying to get untangled from or recently were untangled from.
So either or?
Either or both. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'll say this. Well, currently what I'm tangled in, and I am so looking forward to be untangled from, is that, believe it or not, I still live with my toxic ex. I know. Breaking news. I haven't shared this with anybody, Kyle,
Is it the
but
father of your?
yes, the father of Lee. And you know, he's been in the guest bedroom. It's been 2 years. He's been on
Ooh,
that side of the house. Yeah, and I'm in the master. But the beauty of it is that he travels for work.
and he
So,
pays some rent.
and he pays the rent. So he's gone Monday through Friday now. I get the weekends to do what I need to do to work. The baby, he's in daycare, so I have my days free. I can still travel and do what I need to do. And you know, we co-parent very well. You know, there's no animosity at all. You know, we're just strangers. We're like ships passing in the wind or whatever that saying is. But yeah, no, it works out. It works out. But I'm moving out. I'm
Okay,
working
you're
on moving
moving
out.
out, so you're
Yeah.
gonna move. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I need fresh energy, a new space, you know?
Where do you think you want to go? Any particular part of the DMV you love most?
Well, I would love to. I've never lived in DC. I've always lived in Prince George's. So I would love to, if not DC proper, then like kind of close enough to it. Because now that I am single, I want to map it out to where when the kids are with their fathers for that week, mama can be outside playing, going to the bars, hitting up Kyle like, Kyle, where you at?
We do need to go out. We would have fun. You can always call me up. I have a few rapid fire tangles that we can go through to close this out. Okay, current TV show you're binging right now that you're loving.
I would say, oh gosh, what is Forever? Forever on Netflix is amazing. I love the love story between the two main characters. I love how it's portraying black folks and it's not us getting locked up, drug use, horrible, you know, it is a beautifully written, beautifully shot, beautifully done series. I love how it's portraying the African American community. So yeah, I would say Forever.
You don't have to go into detail if you want, but favorite celebrity interview and a celebrity interview that was a letdown.
Would say my favorite was Tank. Tank is a singer from here in the DMV. Oh, he gave me everything that I needed, everything that I wanted. The worst was Queen Naja. Oh my goodness. This was like fresh out of her breakup from Clarence. And she was like, I don't want to. So of course I asked her about it. You know, I'm a journalist. And that's the thing we wanted to know. Oh, she went in on me, was like, you know, I don't want to talk about that. This interview is over. I was mortified because I'm like, oh, snap. Like, my bad, sis. Like, the folks want to know, but okay. So I would say Queen Naja.
You're just doing your job. Is there a dream interview still?
Of course, Beyonce, like
She doesn't do
Beyonce,
those.
right? Rihanna, Oprah, the big three right there.
What was your first concert?
My first my first concert, so because I was a church kid, was DC Talk. So DC Talk is like a Christian like rap duo from back in the day, and that was my very first concert was DC Talk.
Childhood celebrity crush and current celebrity crush.
I would say my childhood was definitely Tupac and Michael Jackson. I thought I was going to marry one of them. I don't, preferably Michael Jackson, but Tupac was like my bad boy crush, my little church girl self. And currently, I'll say Chris Brown. I feel like every woman has a little bit of a crush on Chris Brown. Like he just does it for me.
What's favorite Michael Jackson song?
I would say, "You Are Not Alone."
Yeah, with Lisa Marie in that
Oh,
video.
love that song. Oh my goodness. It used to make me cry when I was younger. So,
Um, what's one thing in the future you want to be tangled more in, more immersed in?
oh, money. Give me some money. like, like God, that needs to be your next battle for me. How much money can I handle? Okay. But no, seriously, I would say, um, I want to be more entangled with peace of mind. I just want to be at peace. I don't want to feel like I'm in hustle mode all of the time. I want to be in love. I know you asked for one, but I want to meet my husband. I want to meet my match, my partner, my forever. I know that's all sappy, but
Settle down a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah, you've been in the rat race for a long time and you have been hustling for decades.
yes, I have. I'm an old lady. I've lived many lives, Kyle. I'm ready to slow down and I want
So
my
how do
Prince
you
Charming.
unwind? Do you let
Um,
yourself unwind? Are you always trying to figure out what I need to do next?
I am always trying to figure out what I need to do next. I've got this big trip coming up August 7th through the 11th, and literally I'm on the computer before I called you, like typing up stuff, trying to get the itinerary together. Oh crap, the radio station things. Let me send out to the on-air talent what they have to do. Oh my gosh, I got to meet with my editors about the illustrations. Oh crap, Zay needed me to pick up something. Oh, groceries. Oh, I forgot to take the clothes out the washer. It's nonstop. It is nonstop.
Well, you are killing it. You're enough. You need to take care of yourself. Continue to do that. You need the rest. We're all here to support you.
Yeah, I need to be back out on a yacht. That's what I need to do. I'm some sort of maritime vehicle. I need to be out there.
This was such a pleasure, Autumn. Joy, thank you.
Yeah, Kyle, and congratulations to you on stepping out on faith and doing your thing. I am so proud of you. I love these Tangled podcasts that you've got going on. And all I can see is nothing but wins for you in the future, my friend. And I
Oh,
love your
same for
relationship
you.
with your boo. I
Oh,
love
thank you. Same with you. And we'll have to get together. I would love to hang out with you. Boat or not, we can just get drinks. We'll have fun. We'll dance wherever we are.
I know your dance moves are epic. I'm ready. Just tell me when and where.
Follow Autumn Joi wherever you can. She's on Instagram and she's also doing some acting now. As I mentioned, she has her own show here in the DMV and she's also on Fox 5. She's also on radio. Anywhere you go, you're gonna catch her. So I thank you all for listening to this week's episode. We're gonna be back next week. I hope you enjoy your weekend. It's been a fantastic July, and we have some incredible guests coming up in August. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon.